We're going to take a little closer look at truth in, on the social media. The internet has made large amounts of information available to the whole world and has helped communication to be faster. This is something that is very good. There are dangers, however, in how it is currently implemented. Social media uses advanced artificial intelligence with algorithms that are designed to capture and maintain attention. In other words, it incorporates very sophisticated psychology to keep you engaged, and this can lead to addictions and disorders in excess internet use. Try it. There's a feature on your phone that says, a number of hours tracked by my internet use or my use of my phone. You will be surprised to know how much time that you spend on your gadget, and a lot of it is spent on YouTube and on social media. Not for everyone, but it's not hard for that to happen. The artificial intelligence that is there behind your gadgets, so behind this phone, there are huge buildings with full of massive supercomputers running sophisticated program using, as we said, advanced psychology. And this information, the way the programs that are written, it can cause what we call a radicalization in your point of view. In other words, that the AI can always give you more information, more details about some perspective or position that you hold, even if that information that it gives you is false and sometimes based on conspiracy theories. It can detect your fears, for example, or they can detect the things which you maybe have a greater tendency to want to believe as true because of your fears, and feeding that can lead you to radicalize your point of view. The use of the social media can give rise to consumerism, which is like the creation of unnecessary needs. Uh, Apparently, some gadgets like Listen. The other day, someone told me they were talking about cats with a friend, and then they opened their phone and something about cats appeared. Wow. So we know that the goal of Amazon, for example, is to always reduce the amount of clicks that it takes to buy something. And they have done a great job. It's now just like one click. And they present the information in a way that makes you feel that you need it. So they want you to spend money. That's almost, you can say, like the goal of these large, you can say, marketing platforms. And they present things in a way adapted to your interests. It makes them available for you, as we say, in one click. Other dangers: easy access to pornography. This corrupts young people and not so young people. This is a very serious thing. Studies have been done. It shows how pornography can distort your attitudes towards the opposite sex and inhibit one's ability to form serious and stable relationships that lead to a lasting marriage. So that's something that of course parents have to be very careful in managing the use of the internet. A big question parents need to discuss is, what age should my child have a cell phone? I've listened to some discussions where with when they're presenting the actual facts, and you know it seems like it's more like after Form 4. Well, but anyway, that's a discussion to be had. Then there's the issue of the predators. Predators abound. Wow, that's it is difficult to detect their activities and bring them to justice. At times, parents can be guilty of what they call this NMK syndrome. So what's that? Not my kid syndrome. When your kid is on the internet playing games, there's a social communication, you can say, a platform called Discord, where they can be exchanging messages. If your child is playing games on the internet, chances are that he's using Discord, and chances are that he's meeting also persons who are strangers, we can say. Now, okay, they're in it for the game, but predators use these sort of things to reach out to and to befriend young kids, so that not necessarily as we say that it's all bad, but one has to be very very careful about that. There are also psychological effects associated with the excessive use of entertainment on the internet. Science shows that there's an atrophy of parts of the brain related to that are related to affected development. In other words, how we are able to relate to other people, these parts of our brain shrink. um, and that related to affective development and also maturity. Parents then need to limit and monitor their children's use of the internet, teaching them to exercise temperance and prudence, and having conversations with them about what sites they're visiting and what they're seeing and the people that they are interacting with on the social media. Respect for privacy. Now, this is an interesting, a very interesting topic. We have been saying how important truth is. Now, while it's important to be very, very truthful, very straightforward, you can be sometimes too straightforward. No, I wouldn't say too truthful, but too honest. Okay, in the sense that the good and safety of others demands at times a respect for privacy, and this means exercising kind of a discretion or even being silent about what ought not to be known by others. Okay, and so it means using a kind of a discreet language at times, partly to avoid, well, others, is a duty of justice, not to be fair to others, and also avoiding scandal, so that so that speaking about things that should not be spoken about can cause a person to have a wrong opinion about an issue because they are not privy to other information that might be important. So then, no one is bound to reveal the truth to someone who does not have, let's say, the right to know it. The right to the communication of the truth is not unconditional. So, for example, that lawyers, they don't speak about information in a case to when they go home to their family members. Okay, right? And then so that's called professional secret. Um, then even doctors similarly, and then of course the sacrament of reconciliation is sacred and cannot be violated under any pretext. That is very clearly stated in the canon law. Okay, professional secrets. The examples that we were just giving were about professional secrets, that regarding privacy. That okay, so that's even simple things, well, a person's whereabouts and things like that. Well, we don't necessarily have to, reveal, things about other persons, which other person that we're speaking to really is not, it's not constructive or beneficial in any way for them to know. One should give a proper reserve in respecting other person's private lives, so that what happens and what people happens in the intimacy of a home. Okay, that when you visit a person's home and whatever conversations that you have with them, or the things, the jokes, the things that they like, the foods they like, things that they're picky about, things they're not picky about, that things that they're sort of sensitive to, or things that they're not sensitive to, or whatever defects or limitations that we pick up, subtle ways. We don't sort of speak about that. Okay, to others, because these are things that we share because with us that we're friends with them, and we don't speak about or reveal that in private, in public, because it can easily be misunderstood or used in a sort of a very kind of unfair manner. Crisis of truth. One slide for a huge topic. Okay, Benedict XVI spoke a lot about this in his pontificate, especially about relativism, where it's not the truth, but your truth and my truth. Now that's problematic. You can say, oh, well, I am against I won't do abortion, but I won't stop another person, so that if I do it, it's kind of wrong for me, but it's not wrong for another person. Those kind of those ideas, there's a subjectivism behind that, where the criteria for truth is a feeling of certainty from having some clear and distinct idea about something, and that idea has some kind of like a divine guarantee, okay, behind it. So that, on the level of society, those people who are in power are the ones who then can implement their ideas. So that is why, so subjectivism is an issue, that if we are not trying to be objective, trying to say, okay, what is the truth? What are the fundamental values? Life, family, society. These are, we've spoken about these values and how we access these values. But subjectivism, a person will sort of have an idea that, they feel sure that, okay, perhaps, at times, they feel sure about, okay, we're seeing it happening now in the world around us today. That the use of certain weapons in certain circumstances, they are sure that this is what is needed, must be done to root out terrorism. Is that true? Right? I mean, some person can be very convinced of that, but that has to be questioned. Sometimes a person with their intuition, they have the almighty intuition. I just have an intuition, that this person, is a bit, for whatever reason, we think that that person is not, for whatever reason, this person is good for me to marry. I have an intuition. This person will make a good spouse. Well, perhaps yes, but we cannot just trust intuition. We need to check and talk and to learn about the person. So subjectivism, makes people feel that their intuitions about, whether it might be, the sometimes it touches on, we can say, conspiracy theories. I don't like using that word. Okay, but at times people feel that, oh, they're lying to us. My intuition tells me they're lying to us. Well, you have to check that. Sometimes your intuition might tell you that maybe the other way around, as we said. Oh, I'm sure that this person, I can marry this person. Well, check that intuition. So it's important that we learn about facts. We need to learn about logic. We need to learn about how logic works. We need to develop critical thinking, because without all of these things, and faith helps also, we can easily fall into subjectivism, and that becomes relativism, and that is a great issue in terms of for society to function. Another is empiricism. You say, wow, what's that? Okay, here the criteria for truth is empirical verification. Now you say, what's wrong with that? Empirical verification means that if you have an hypothesis, you have to test it. Okay, we all agree with that. But then it says that only the things that can be verified by testing, in some way, physically, touch, smell, feel, that's the only thing that is true. So where does that leave realities like values? I can't touch, feel, justice, friendliness. These things have physical manifestations, but in themselves, values, as we said, they're timeless. Okay, we cannot touch, taste, feel, what the value of life 1,000 years ago, right? But we can still say there's a value, and it's timeless. Okay, so that there are things that I can know. I can know that everybody here watching this video has a mother and a father. I haven't seen all the parents of all of you, but I can access that through logic. Okay, so not everything needs to be tested, but there's this kind of an idea that everything needs to be able to be broken down to concrete expressions. Otherwise, it's just opinion or just feelings. Okay, so based on kind of empiricism, persons adopt a position of saying, "Oh, there is no God." Okay, well, and they're sure of it. Okay, sorry, buddy, but I think the problem is not lack of evidence, but a lack of intelligence. Realism. We can know the nature of things and the logic of their activity. So realism is not an issue in crisis of truth. So okay, let's make that very clear. The points on this slide are not all issues of crisis of truth. Realism is actually the remedy. It's the remedy. Right? It's the remedy to subjectivism and empiricism. And realism says we can know the nature of things and the logic of their activity. the human intellect can understand and reason about universal truths regarding God, man, and creation that is beyond empirical verification. Realism says then that the criteria for truth is what is objective, what we're able to access through correct reasoning, and also a power of abstraction. So realism then, it says that by following the rules of logical rigor, we can come to know the truth of things, and we can be objective about things, and then we can, for example, the values we spoke about, and these now, it's not just because I feel, that a certain about a thing or something, but I check, I reason, I ask questions, and I say, oh, I realize that I was wrong, and we realize that I was kind of going up, it was my feelings were getting ahead of me. Okay, we're sort of putting things in my mind, and we needed others and discussion with others and seeking advice and things like that to sort of correct that and not allow our emotions to dictate how we think. Okay, so that's all of this is very important. Faith and reason mutually support and enrich each other. So then sometimes there's a question about faith, saying, oh well, I cannot there's no thermometer. We just say what is my level, how much grace do I have? You say, okay, put the thermometer, check. Oh, you need to go. I think you need confession. No, no, that doesn't exist. Okay, so that our faith tells there are things that we cannot test, but we know that are real because we understand through revelation. So that through grace, we can understand that grace is what then enables us to have forgiveness of our sins and have a life as a child of God. So then faith does not oppose reason, right? So that God who created the universe and gave us our intellect to understand it and to do science and technology and all that, is the same God who revealed himself in the history of salvation. And God cannot contradict himself. So if there's a contradiction, it's only apparent. Either we need to understand the reality a little better, do our science a little better, or we need to understand our faith a little better and how it applies. Okay, so that there's it's only apparent if there seems to be a clash. But faith and reason complement each other. Okay, faith helps us to understand then that some like the things that we access through our reason, then faith sort of guides us. It's a light that enables us to live the values like life and family, but even in a richer way, understanding that our life is not only on the human level, but it's also we live a life which is eternal. We aspire for something that is divine, and that only enriches our human life and our human reality. Point for discussion. Santa Claus is coming to town. There are some people who feel that keep telling our kids that Santa Claus brings their gifts at Christmas is lying to them. And it is something that is actually perpetuated for years. So that, the children, it was really amusing. A child came to visit, and the other day, 7 years old, and talking about, well, he was kind of concerned that how Santa was going to bring him good gifts because he wasn't sure if he had behaved too well. I said, yeah, well, you're a good kid, and so Santa, Santa knows that you're a good boy, and you always try to to make up for if you do anything wrong and so on. Okay, well, it's a great story, and we have everything, all the elements. We have the sleigh, the reindeer, and the elves. And wow, it's a really a great story. Kids love it because it plays on their imagination, and that kids, they love playing with their imagination, and that's a story that for kids, sort of places them in a kind of an imaginary world where all this wonderful things happening, and it's all about them getting gifts. But then others say that keeping children in that sort of imaginary place is not really, it's not truthful, so we are undermining the value of truth. So then they should say rather that you should not, speak of that, and to just tell them, well, at Christmas, you get gifts, and your gifts come from and bring from your parents, and that's it. So, okay, well, I'll leave it up to you. Have a discussion. Is it really lying are we lying to our children when we tell them Santa Claus is coming to town? Uh, or is it just like a game? Is it really play? How would you explain that to someone that, sort of, so going with that story of Santa Claus with your children is not really lying, or it may not really necessarily doing them harm, or maybe we going too far, and how far should we go? Good luck.